Parents, my name is Brennan Lynch. Welcome to our first guitar update. I always think it's helpful to have your kids with you when you're watching these videos. I'm going to ask a few questions. It's always great if they can chime in with those answers. I'll give them a couple of seconds before I tell the correct answer. So, first thing that we're going to talk about is this instrument right here in front of me. This is actually not a guitar. This is a baritone ukulele. Very different than the ukulele that you're probably thinking of in your head. The baritone ukulele is sometimes referred to as the guitar ukulele, and that's because it's much, much more similar to a guitar than a ukulele. There are actually two differences between a baritone ukulele and a guitar. I'm going to give your kids a couple of seconds to say what those two differences are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Two differences. Were you able to guess them? It is smaller, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 strings. On a regular guitar, you would have how many strings? 6. So, baritone ukulele, the 4 strings that we do have are exactly the same as strings 1, 2, 3, 4 on a guitar. We're just missing those lower 2 strings. I really, really like starting off on the baritone ukulele for a couple of different reasons. One, it's like starting on a smaller keyboard and working your way up to a grand piano. It's just easier when you're just looking at the things that you're working on right now. All that kind of, those extra keys and those extra strings that we won't even look at until the second year, it just makes it a little bit more, I think, confusing. So I really, really like that. The other thing is the strings are a little bit further apart on this instrument. I like that because it's easier when you're pushing your fingers down and making chords. All right, so let's now go through the parts of the guitar. We're just going to refer to it as a guitar from here on out. All right, so parts of the guitar. Who can tell me what this is called? Give you a couple of seconds. It is the body of the guitar. On the body, we have the sound hole. That would be this part right here. Sound hole always faced wherever you're playing. So if I'm playing guitar for you, I want my sound hole faced towards you. I don't want the guitar in my lap with the sound hole facing up towards the ceiling. We're not playing for the ceiling. Not down towards the floor. On its side with the sound hole facing towards the audience. All right, next up, we have this part of the guitar, and that is called the neck of the guitar. The neck of the guitar has the strings, which we already talked about. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first string is the one that's going to be furthest away from you when you're holding it. It's also the thinnest string. 1 is the thinnest number. Helpful way to remember it. Okay. Also, on the neck, we have the frets. So these metal things are. If you start all the way up here, you have the first fret, and then go ahead and count all the way up and tell me how many frets we have. I'll give you a couple of seconds. All right, we should have 18 frets on the baritone ukulele. If you didn't get 18, count again and let me know. All right. Also, you may notice that we have dots. On most of the baritone ukuleles, I think all of them, we have dots on the 5th and the 7th fret, and then the 10th and the 12th. These are just reference dots, so if I say go to the 5th fret, you don't have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can just go, oh, right there, the dot. All right, body, neck. Up here we have the head of the guitar. Head of the guitar is the one part of the guitar I do not want your children to touch, and here's why. The ends of the strings can be a little bit sharp. If you put your hand there, it could scratch them, and that's not good. We don't want any of that, so don't put your hand up here. And the tuning pegs. I will tune the guitar every single week. It probably won't need to be tuned too much more beyond that. So I don't want your kids playing with the tuning pegs. If they turn it up too high, it's like putting too much air into a balloon. It's going to make it pop. So I don't want them to be tuning it up and have the string pop and then they can't practice for that week. I mean, we can always restring it. It's not a big deal, but I don't want them to have that happen. Plus, sometimes when the string pops, it can kind of hurt. So no touching the head or the tuning pegs. All right, so those are the parts of the guitar. Now we're going to talk about strums and rests. To make a strum on the guitar, we are going to take our thumb, we're going to put it on the 4th string, that's the one closest to you, and I just want you to play every string going down. I want you to do your best to play them at the same time, so that doesn't mean playing each string individually, it means bringing your thumb across all together. You don't have to play very hard. Do not bend the string like this. Can everybody see that? You don't need to bend the string. It's a nice instrument. It's nice and soft. Just glide it across those strings. Good. The last thing we're going to talk about, rests. So, I'm strumming and I want to do a rest. I take my hand, I put it over the strings, and I make the strings completely silent. You'll notice that I don't bring my hand down so hard that it makes a percussive sound. That's not what we want. We want... So let's try just a few strum rests. Strum rests. All right, and that's it for today. Have a good one.